Hi friends, MD vegan. I make a fruit salad today. At the breakfast, the amazing thing is about fruit. The more I learn about each ingredient, each fruit, I understand how they work, for example, in fantastic new flavors, textures, colors, combinations. Because, for example, let's see the orange here. Orange is a very common fruit. Yeah, but who would have known that blending oranges would make a creamy texture that is almost a pudding, a gel. That is so amazing. So for that reason, orange can be the base of a smoothie. Yeah, because when you have other ingredients in that smoothie that are runny, you put in an orange and it gets firm, gets the right creaminess of the smoothie. Of course, you cannot combine the banana with oranges in a smoothie that easily, because that turns then bitter. The bitter flavors of the banana and of the orange, which you don't feel when you eat an orange by itself or a banana by itself. But when they come together, these bitter flavors add up and it gets all not nice anymore. That's my personal feeling. I don't know how you feel about it, but though I will just avoid for a moment until I know more, just combining bananas and oranges in a blender. I put the orange into the blender, and together they have a wonderful citrus flavor. They are perfectly together with other tropical or citrus fruit, like the mango here, yeah, and nectarine. Yeah. These three together, orange, mango, nectarine. Nectarines are a little bit sour sometimes. They can be also sweet. Always depends on the ripeness. And mangoes also, they are heavenly. I mean, all fruit are amazing, but mangoes by itself, they are so delicious. They have also a very nice creamy texture. All these three fruit have a huge amount of fiber. That is one of the big healthy parts of fruit. And veggie, all the plant foods, the fiber helps us to digest, have a healthy digestion. That's a big part of the immune system. And fibers also, they regulate how much fruit, how much sugar and fat we take in. A regulation, they moderate it. Without fiber, all these sugars and fats go into the bloodstream immediately, and then they can cause some damage. But with the fiber, everything else gets healthy. It's very amazing. You can do so much with fiber of the fruit. So it's a very healthy thing. This fiber, even if we don't digest the fiber, originally without fiber is not digested, but now we know there are so many different fibers. Every plant has a different kind of fiber. All these fibers have different jobs and health benefits, and some of the fibers even can be digested with the help of the bacteria and other things. So, complicated story, we don't need to go that deep, but it helps to understand why fruit and vegetables are so healthy. So it's our best food. Now blend it and let's see what happens. That looks amazing to me from the outside. You see the little dots here? That's from the nectarines peel. They have a little bit of firmer peel, but it's worth everything because under the peel there are very many nutrients, especially so if you can't eat the peel, it's good. Not from citrus fruit. That can be a little bit harsh, sorry. But the nectarine and mango, sometimes I eat the mango peel. That depends much on the mango. The mango can have a very bitter peel. I don't eat it then. The most delicious mango, they can have the bitterest peel. Then I have to peel it. I have peeled this one too. There are always different reasons. A little bit too bitter maybe. Let's see now that flavor. Heavenly. And you know what? When you eat this kind of fruit, a lot of fiber, you could eat this for breakfast and be done for a couple of hours even, yeah, before you have to eat again. For many people that's important. So I will now put that into a glass, and show you the first part of my breakfast. Yeah, this is now, you can eat it as a dessert too, but it's very light and at the same time it's filling. It's filling and nutritious and keeping for a while. Because of the fiber, I guess it's mostly. Yeah. I don't need to talk about the other nutrients here. They are amazing in mangoes, in oranges, how huge amount of calcium. Vitamin C is everywhere for the skin, and mango is also used for the skin, for the beautiful skin. Indians eat mango a lot for that reason alone. But that's a cultural thing, and there's science about it again. So what stories that don't need to do that here. Most important, we know fruit is super healthy. Whatever fruit you like, enjoy. You can't eat too much, literally. Yeah, it's another scientific story. Yeah. And the more we learn, the more fascinating it is to experiment with fruit and vegetables and nuts and seeds. So here is what I put on top of my little dessert here, or breakfast. That's a melon, a honeydew melon, and strawberries. Yeah. Yeah. Another two stories by itself. What is a strawberry? What is a melon? Amazing. I had cut them into small pieces. They are beautiful, they're delicious. That's most what we need to know. There is a story about science. Science, what kind of science what the limits of science on the one hand. We know science, the Western science, we have experimental science. Modern science is limited by itself. It's a limited approach, but it is not a belief system, because good science says exactly what kind of assumptions they make. For example, the first assumption modern science of today usually makes is we only look at an abstract part of the reality. We don't look at the whole reality. Science is usually not holistic. That might be a big mistake, but we have the knowledge that says what kind of reality we look at and what we do not look at. Yeah, the conditions under which an experiment, a trial is conducted have to be outlined exactly so that everybody can make their own judgments about it and make the right conclusions. And how we can make a conclusion from that science, that's interesting. There we can debate, but the science itself, if it's good, and it's not a belief system, it's objective. But it becomes a belief system how you conclude, what conclusions you take from that science. There it can become a problem. We can debate about that, but the science in itself, yeah. For example, why do we make certain studies and why do we not make other studies? There it becomes a little bit of belief system, or other factors like industry, politics, belief, culture comes into play. For example, without science, we maybe would have never had a global vegan movement. It only began in 2014, the global vegan movement. Yeah, the 70 years before, it was just insignificant. Nobody wanted to know anything about veganism. Yeah, you can look at the Vegan Society in London, where it began. You can look at that website. They had an anniversary, 70th anniversary, and they published a report where they explained all this. Now we're interested in veganism, but all of a sudden in 2014, boom, it went up, the vegan movement went global. And at the same time, funny, the first big studies by Harvard, big universities, in favor of veganism, of plant-based diet, was published, not before. And with these studies, yeah, we can believe, we have good reason to believe, to assume that this made the vegan movement, the globalization of the vegan movement, the global vegan movement, possible. So that's a very important thing for me, what I make of science. Yeah? If I want to go to the ethical main objective of how we live together, philosophers always have asked this question: how can we live together in a good way? That was the main question of ethics always, the highest question in philosophy, in our culture. How do we live together? What can we do? Then we have to see that animals now are suffering the most. So the first objective would be, of course, for the highest moral standards, to help these animals out of the suffering. And that's exactly what veganism is about. And now, interesting enough, we might be able to say, without science, without health science, which is not so important for the animals by itself, it's human health, But without this health science, we might never have had the chance to save all these animals that the global vegan movement is taken off about. So very interestingly, this kind of reflections, and with this perspective, you can also evaluate or estimate the value of scientific research. For me, it's important to know the vegan diet is the healthiest diet. Or other way around, better, the healthiest diet is vegan, because there are many vegan diets that are not healthy, with sugar and everything. Vegan but not healthy. But the healthiest diet is vegan. That has been proven. This kind of knowledge is the highest importance of the knowledge we have. Other kind of knowledge, like for example, is it better to eat a strawberry or a melon, is not so important. Because with that knowledge, if you have to eat a strawberry or a fig or something, what is the best vegan food, the best vegan fruit or so, it doesn't really matter, it helps no animal. Yeah. But if we know, once we know, the vegan food is the healthiest food, then we know this knowledge helps the animals. So that's why we have a way to understand the value of what kind of science for our animals and for our highest purpose. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it's delicious and it's very good too, in a moral, ethical sense. We all should have be transitioning to a vegan diet, to the healthy plant-based diet, and it's the best to save the animals and to have a good life on planet Earth. And Oxford study also says adopting a vegan diet is the single most effective step every single one of us can do to save the planet. So we have everything. We have human health, we have the planet, and that's the way to save the animals. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. If so, give me a thumbs up, like my video, and maybe subscribe and be vegan on YouTube. Have another recipe every single day. Be inspired to plant-based diet and help your friends to do the same. And also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest and Twitter.